everybody. It's Talk to Me Tuesday. It's your girl, Anja, and today I'm so excited. Listen, sending the fashion industry on storm. She is like one of the best people in the industry that I know. She's been killing it for a while now, and I love what she's up to always and forever. Please help me welcome one of the best to ever do it, my girl, Scarlett. Hey, girl. Hey.
Hey, what's up?
What's up? How you feeling, Scarlett? What's going on with your life? I'm just so excited to sit down and talk to you.
I know it's been so long. I'm excited to be here. Thank you.
You're so
Thank you.
welcome.
I'm so happy
Okay,
to be
so
here.
you're in the fashion industry. So let's go all the way back to, I don't know, when did you fall in love with this? Like, were you a kid? Like, were you a teenager? When did fashion become like something you enjoyed?
I think fashion, it's not so much fashion as it is creating a look, right? So
Okay.
I thought I'm going to start in high school. I thought in high school I wanted to be a stylist. Like that's what I want to do. I want to dress people, but there isn't a degree. And I come from a time where going to school was important.
Mhm.
So you had to want to go to school, you had to graduate, like degrees were important, right?
Right.
And so I think though fashion has always been a part of me without knowing it necessarily, right? Like I always love to dress, but I always love like different hairstyles. I loved accessories. Accessories and shoes, I think, were like my go-to growing up. And so then, of course, clothes is a part of the look, right? And so in high school, I'm just like, I want to dress people. I want to style people. And since there wasn't a degree, then I
Wait,
needed
did
a
you even
degree.
know that was like a real job to style people?
Yes, but I didn't know there wasn't a degree for it.
Okay, bet.
So I'm like, what the hell am I going to go to college for? Right? Like, how's this going to
I know
work?
what I want to do, and this has nothing to do with college.
None, none. And so then I'm like, well, then I guess I'll be dressing people in my own garments. So I have to learn how to sew.
Okay.
And in high school, I actually designed my own quinceañera dress. I didn't make it, but I did design it. And then for prom, I made my own prom dress. And I was like, if I can do this, then I can go to school for it and learn. And I didn't know, I didn't have any background in anything. Like I don't know, I didn't know how to draw. I didn't know how to sew. I didn't know what a pattern was. And so I literally made my prom dress by hand. Like it was crazy. So when I took it off, I don't know how to put it back together. There is no putting that dress back together. It was like a one and done type thing.
One time, just one
That's it.
time.
Talk about couture. Like seriously, one time and that was it. Yeah.
Love it.
So I think that's when I knew, like, okay, I need to learn how to do this because this is I want to dress people. Like that was my thing. I want to build looks for people.
Mhm.
And so that was it. I was like, this is what I'm going to school for. I actually started at Illinois State for fashion and education. And
Okay.
eventually, I mean, maybe I will teach one day. I'm not sure what, but I had to drop that. That didn't work out. And then
I
I
was
just
about to
ended.
say, what does that even mean? Like to fashion, like what does that what would that degree get you?
Girl, I don't know. I was just like, I want to teach kids one day. Like, I don't know
Okay.
what I want to teach them, right? But they
Okay.
were two separate, they didn't have anything to do with one another. It's not like I wanted to teach fashion. I'm like, I want to
Okay.
teach maybe, I don't know, English, even though English, I'm not, language isn't my thing necessarily. But I knew I wanted to teach, not so much because I wanted to teach kids to learn a subject, but I
Mhm.
wanted to be a positive role model in kids' life. And I thought
Yeah.
education would be the way. So I dropped that because school at the time for me was not it. Like, I'm like,
Okay.
this is not going to lectures for 3, 4 hours was not my thing. So I left that. Eventually, I went back to school a couple years later, strictly for fashion, which
Mhm.
was much better for me because it was all hands on for the most part.
Yes.
So, yeah.
And then you went to a school that was completely non-traditional, which for me, that was like everything I needed. Cause like, what is
Everything.
lectures and like hundreds of people in class? No, thank you.
Although for me, I had a lecture class in arts. It was an art history class. And girl, when I tell you I failed that, I was like, no, this is not what this is supposed to be. So I did have a couple classes like that that were traditional. And I'm like, oh my gosh, here we go. Um, but yeah, other than that, luckily all the most of the other classes were hands-on. I did almost fail my drawing class though, because like I said, I couldn't draw and I
Mhm.
was drawing things backwards. Like the way I was seeing things and the way I was
Yeah.
putting them on paper was not the same. And my teacher's like, pretty much like, you are terrible at this. And I'm like, I didn't come to draw. Like, I know what I want to make. I just need to know how to make it. Like, I didn't know I had to draw. Listen, when I went to Columbia, I knew nothing. And I knew nothing about the curriculum. And I was
Uh-huh.
steps behind. It was wild. It was
So
wild.
how did you were faced, I mean, our school takes what you're doing very seriously. They want you to be the best to ever do it. So like, how did you not just be like, I don't want to draw? Like, how did you get over the I don't want to draw? I don't know how to draw. Like, because they demand that you know what you're doing. So how did you go through that challenge?
Man, I think,
Even with the
too,
lecture class too. Like, how did you figure that one out?
I think with the lecture class, it was like, okay, girl, you gotta learn, you gotta figure out a way to pass this. Even
Okay.
if that means cheating a little bit, right? Like writing down notes and taking them with you. Listen, I'm just not good with remembering dates. Like history is
I
probably
love
the
you
worst.
so much. You're like, by any means
Oh,
necessary.
no doubt, no doubt. And listen, Malcolm X is one of the people I look up to. I took those words literally. It was by any means. No, seriously, like I'm like, for me to have failed it the first time, knowing I hated that experience was just dumb, right? I should have found a way to pass it the first time.
Right.
But the second time, it's like, okay, well, you need to move forward, right? You can't be wasting time repeating classes plus money. We all know how expensive Columbia is. So I just had to figure it out because I'm like, this is, for me, it's unnecessary. It's necessary, but unnecessary. Like, do I really
Absolutely.
need it, right? But I needed to pass. I needed to move forward in my education. So yeah, I had to just buckle down a little bit, focus a little more. And then for the other classes, like with the drawing class, it doesn't take much for people to get me together. All you have to tell me is like, hey, you're about to fail. And it's just like, oh, okay. Let me, like, that's
I'm
all it
ready.
takes. I'm ready. Like just like that. Because I normally I start off pretty slow, like in
Mhm.
school. I take my time, I think that I'm smart enough to just get by. No, that's not the case in classes you know nothing about. And
Right.
so, yeah, I just had to spend more time. Oh, and this is, I'm not talk about transparency. I had an ex-boyfriend who can draw. And for this particular class, we were
Did
supposed
you
to draw.
let him do your drawing?
Oh yeah, no doubt. No doubt. We had to have a sketchbook and every day we had to do a drawing. And by the end of the semester, we had to turn that sketchbook in. I think
Okay.
he did probably about 75% of those drawings for me.
Love you for that. Thank you.
Yeah.
Love you for that.
But in class, we had to draw. So I still had to figure it out because it's not like you can let someone else do your work, excuse me,
Uh-huh.
and then you get to class and you can't draw a lick, right? You have to be able to draw something. So I did take it serious in the sense of I did practice, but a lot of those homeworks he did for me for sure. Yeah. I'm like, I don't need this. I don't need
We're
this.
getting very transparent on here. We're gonna tell you how to be the best.
This is 10 plus years ago, man. Like, yeah, I can draw a little now. Like I
Yeah.
can, definitely once I start really caring about my craft, right? Because this is kind of like the beginning stages of me being in school, both those
Right.
classes actually. So
Hmm.
once I really started caring and knowing, hey, you do need this, right? Because when you have clients or you want to design something, you have to be able to communicate what this is, what it is you want to design, what you want to make. And through that is a visual. And so at some point I got books, I asked questions and I did a lot of YouTube videos
Hmm.
and I
Hmm.
learned how to draw a little bit. Now I'm good enough. I'm no artist in that way, but now I'm
Right.
good enough to be able to get my point across. So
That's good
you
because
learn.
I always feel like drawing is literally a whole nother skill set. So I always wondered like how that
It
went
is.
together.
It is. It's I don't draw as much as I used to because I don't do custom anymore. So I had to do it a lot for prom.
Okay.
But it really is a talent and a skill, or
Hmm.
either or. I think for me it was more so a skill, not so much a talent, because I
Okay.
had to research almost everything I drew. Like I'm, and then I date a lot of creatives, so I had another ex boyfriend later in life. He could draw, and so he taught me a lot too, and I'd learned from him.
I
So
love that.
yeah.
All right. So you are at the end of your college life. What is that looking like? Do you have a direction on where you want your dreams to go, or are you still trying to figure something out?
So I think this was another issue with me not knowing anything about fashion or business.
Okay.
I thought leaving college, and this is a mistake I made. So,
Okay.
um, for anyone who wants to go to school for anything, if you're going to go to school, you have to network, especially in the arts. Like and they told me that at Columbia. They're like network, and I didn't. I didn't.
You
I
did
was
it!
I
What?
didn't.
No!
Mm,
Our school went ham on network, network,
yeah,
network.
yeah, they really did. And one, I was older than everyone already. And artists can be, they're not like you and me. Oftentimes artists are very snobby, and I'm not, I think I'm super down to earth. And I
Yeah.
just could not deal with those other students. Like I'm just like, I get it. You're artistic. Good for you. And another thing is I felt like I got judged a lot because I didn't have the experience. I was always the last one to figure something out in class. Most people, they're like, yeah, my grandmother taught me how to sew, and I've been doing patterns since, I was 3 years old. I'm exaggerating, but you had a lot of those. Most, I want to say 90% of RT people have already learned something, they know something, or they naturally have that talent. When I tell you I knew nothing, all I had was an idea in my head. That's it. And
Mhm.
so when I graduated, I was super discouraged
Oh,
because
no.
I always felt like you would think that in art school anything goes. Whatever you want to do, you can do, and people are going to encourage that and support that. It wasn't like that for me.
Right.
And so when I graduated, I felt super discouraged. I didn't know what to do. I had saved some money and I was going to buy a car. My cousin at the time, though, was living in Europe. She was in the Air Force. And
Mhm.
she's like, I don't know, I had a conversation with her. She's like, if you want to come down, you can. And I'm like, bump that. I love to travel. Europe, I know, is great for art. So let me see if I can get back inspired because
Mhm.
school I felt like set me back mentally. And that's what I did. So then,
I think
when-
real quick that is so important because like art school is a beautiful thing, but art school also, I think that's the ugly side of art school is that like the whole like I'm a better dancer, I'm a better this, I've been doing it
yeah,
long, I have this, and it's just like, and then of course like the school has their own agenda on what things look like, and the whole for me like grading art
yes,
gets a little bit murky because
yeah.
like how do you not like what my vision is? This is my vision. So yeah, you definitely have to hold on to some of yourself while getting through any program, right? So all
Yeah,
right, so you feel depleted, defeated, all the
defeated,
things.
all the things, all the feels, all the negative
All
feels.
of
I
the
guess.
things, the
Yeah.
not where you thought you would be. You head off to Europe and do you find that inspiration?
Eh, not necessarily. I I went to Europe thinking that that's what was going to happen. But
Okay.
one of the first cities I went to was Milan,
Hmm.
and I thought Milan was going to be a great place for fashion, right? No, I'm just like, what? Like, it was so whack to me when it came to like, I guess like I was looking for like architecture more than anything, right? Because I'm
Right, right, right.
inspired. I'm not just inspired by garments. I'm inspired just by art, by
Hmm.
anything really, right? I'm inspired by flowers, just
Okay.
literally anything. And so I went to Milan thinking, oh my gosh, the inspiration was going to be level 10.
Top
And no,
notch.
yeah, top notch. I'm just like, no, this is any
Okay.
other freaking city, right? Anyway,
Okay.
so I had a great time in Europe, but did I find my inspiration? No, I did not.
Okay.
I just didn't. And I think I realized something about me, especially back then. I do really good working under pressure.
Okay.
When I got back, a young lady named Mila, she was throwing a fashion show. I don't know how she found me necessarily, but she reached out. She's like, hey, I'm having a fashion show. Do you want to be a designer for it? And I'm like, yeah. And just like that, I had to get creative. And
Okay.
so I designed, I don't know, maybe like 8 to 10 pieces from to do that show.
Wow.
And yeah, and that's kind of how I got like my mojo back.
Nice.
Yeah.
So how did you end up having is that how you ended up having your own swimsuit line?
No.
Nope, nope. Tell me about your swimsuit line. How did we
Well,
get there?
listen, this was 10 years ago. So
Okay.
what happened was, um, so when I graduated, I thought naturally I was just gonna have a business, right? I'm just like, oh yeah, I'm done with school. I'm gonna have a
Yeah.
business. I'm gonna design what I want, and that's how it's gonna go. I ended up being in the custom world, like from that fashion show. And so I met
You
a
said
young lady,
costume?
custom,
Oh, like
custom
custom
designer.
designs?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
So from that first fashion show, I got my first prom client. So one of the guests there, her name was Chanel. I guess she thought she liked my dresses, and she's like, "Yeah, I'd like for you to design my prom dress." And I'm like, "Okay, cool." Cause like prom, I love elegant, I love sexy, I love classy, and I
Right.
love gowns, right? So I love everything about a gown.
Mhm.
And I'm like, this is perfect. I didn't know what I was doing. Like I didn't when I went to swims for me, when I was in college, towards my senior thesis had to do with like bodysuits. So I
Oh,
love like summer wear, like that's my niche, right? It's summer
right.
garments. And so I love jumpsuits, bodysuits, onesies, whatever you want to call them, leotards. And so that's what I was designing. And so when the custom thing came around, I'm like, yeah, this is cool, right? Because I love this too. And so I did her prom dress and did that literally for 10 years.
Oh,
And last year is when I launched the swimsuit line because I think I just finally got tired of not doing exactly what I wanted to do. A few years ago, though, I did try to put out a line. I made the collection, it was dresses, summer dresses. And I made the collection and I was like,
mhm.
I'm going to do it by order, though, right? So when someone wants something, I'm going to make the size they need, right? I wasn't going to produce the line. And girl, I posted it one time on social media and that was it. I didn't do anything else. Yeah. So of course it went nowhere because there was no promoting, marketing, or
That is
anything.
not where I thought the story was going. I don't know where I thought we were headed, but that wasn't quite okay.
Yeah,
All right.
yeah, yeah.
So that went nowhere. And then
I
what?
went nowhere. And then I started my swimsuit line in 2015. So a couple years after I started, I made swimsuits because I wanted to do a little bit of everything to see what I truly liked. And I really liked
Okay.
the swimsuits I made. And so I was like, okay, I can see this. I like this. I enjoy this. But I kept doing the custom thing. You know how it is when you just get comfortable doing something? That's
Okay.
where the money was. I did enjoy making custom garments is good and bad for me because I
Mhm.
enjoy seeing the girls wear their gowns, right? I love the end product. The process, though, is a whole different thing. And so there's a love and a hate for it. But the swimsuits came because, yeah, I got tired. I'm like, I need to do what I want to do. But it
Mhm.
took me a
Mhm.
long time to press go and actually do the research, right?
Mhm.
Get my LLC and everything that comes along with owning a business, the
Mhm.
website, all this obviously costs not only money, but it costs time. You spend a lot of time and effort because now you have to learn something new.
Yeah.
Now I'm a business owner, I'm barely a designer. And you don't know that beforehand. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? You don't know what
Mhm.
you don't know. And so it took me a long time to get in the mind frame of I want to own a business, but a
Okay.
business needs to be ran a certain way.
Okay. Mhm.
Because with custom, you choose, right? Like if I want to make a dress, I say yes. If I don't, I say no. These are choices. With a
Yes.
business, you can't decide to own a business today
I don't feel
and
like
make
doing this
no.
today.
Right.
This one don't really like.
Yep. Like, no, I'm sorry, I don't want to sell you that swimsuit. I don't have that option, right?
Yeah,
So
yeah.
it took me a long time to just be like, girl, do it. Like, what are you waiting for?
What are we waiting for? Yes.
Yeah, yeah.
I love that. So what about the swimsuit? I know you gave us some nuggets, but like what about the swimsuit design do you like? Is it the form fitting? Is it like the colors, like the fabric material? What do you think?
So
What speaks to you?
so my pieces they're novelty pieces, right?
Okay.
Meaning you can swim in them, but they're showpieces. They're not, these are part of your fashion like lifestyle, right? You're taking
Mhm.
this piece saying, everything I'm gonna take like on this trip, I'm going to, let's say, um, I don't know, give me a place. I'm going to Greece. I
Okay.
want to be sexy, I want to be classy, I want to stand out.
Mhm.
And so you know that you're going to this nice resort or you're going to have these beautiful views by the water and you want to look good. And so I wanted to create a line for that type of woman. A woman who wants to look good, who wants to feel good. One of my big things is dressing for me, like dressing up
Mhm.
has always made me feel better. Like just looking good has made me feel better. Even on those days where I feel, can we curse on here or no?
Hey, I tell everybody, bring your true self. So if you gotta cuss, girl, say what you gotta say, okay?
So, like, you know, on those days where you feel shitty, like, honestly, I feel like whatever your makeup routine is, I don't do too much makeup, but throwing on some lipstick, combing my hair, and putting on something I
Mhm.
like will lift my spirits. Maybe not 100%, but it will do something positive for me, right? And so
Absolutely.
I wanted to create a line that, one, you could just take with you, right? Because you like to look good. Or two, I travel a lot when I need a break, like from life. And
Right.
so I want to take pieces with me that are going to make me feel good, right? That I'm
Mhm.
going to look at myself and be like, oh, I like, I like what I see. And that's going to help lift my spirits. And so that's what I love about my swimsuits. Like I made them with this idea, um, with this woman in mind that wants to look and feel good. And so the
Right.
colors, the fabric, they're metallic colors. So they're colors
Okay.
that pop. I love color and I love fabric. I like them either together or both, however you know what I mean? But like I
Mhm.
love to mix things. So it's a solid metallic fabric with a mesh. So it has like a see-through element to it. And so it has some sexiness, some sex appeal to it as well, which I love because I love combining fabrics.
Oh my goodness. I think that they're gorgeous bathing suits. They
Thank
definitely stand out and they're so unique. And I always, when I look at the photos, I'm always thinking like you go to Vegas to those like what is it, pool parties
you.
where like nobody's actually really in the pool, but everybody
Yeah,
look real cute, like
yeah,
they almost want to get into the pool.
yeah.
So I
That's
feel
it.
like those would be good for those moments too. When you
For
got your
sure.
like heels on and a bathing suit for no reason. Yeah.
Yeah. No, for sure. They're definitely showpieces. Like when I do my photo shoots, I've been fortunate to do some photo shoots like out the country and resorts and stuff. And the models are always getting compliments like, you look good. And I tell people, like, you will get compliments. And I really mean that because you really will. And I think that's so dope when you're noticed like that, right?
Mhm.
And it's a bathing suit. Like, it's a
And
bathing
it's
suit.
a
It's like
bathing
a
suit.
little piece.
It will fit in your carry-on ladies. Like it
Yeah.
will fit.
It will totally fit. Yeah, they're these. Yeah, I love them. But I think what's most special about my swimsuits is that I custom made the pattern. So I chose not to go with your standard industry patterns
Okay.
because there is a niche. I mean, for there's so many niches that are missing in the market, right?
Okay.
But body types, I think, are a real big part of that, right? So you have your petite, you have your standard, and I have to put that in air quotes because what the hell is a standard size body, right?
Good point.
Then you have your plus size. And so I am a standard size, but I cannot fit your standard one piece swimsuits. And I know
Mhm.
I'm not the only one like that. There is a lot of us like that. Whether that means you have too much bust, you have too much
Mhm.
belly, you have too much butter hips. And so I wanted a swimsuit that included women who had fuller bodies, but still wear your standard swimsuit sizes. And my manufacturer was, I could have done it through them, but again, me not knowing everything I needed to know prior to it. I had already came with my pattern and my design, and they
Mhm.
started to work on that. And then I realized later, like, wait, but this isn't the exact silhouette I want. And they're like, okay, well, we can change it, but and I'm like, oh, don't worry about it. I got it. I figured it out. So I had to launch way later than I wanted to because now I
Okay.
had to figure out, all right, how am I going to do this? I can do patterns, right? But now I'm creating a brand new pattern, right? And not just the design, but now it's the shape and the silhouette, right? It's the fit. And so, yeah, my swimsuits are inclusive to women with fuller bodies and standard sizes. And if you're, if you are like you're always a medium, right? And you are that standard size, then you might have to just size down.
Yeah.
But yeah, the idea is, for you able to put your body this
And
full
feel
or
comfortable and feel
yeah,
confident and feel like sexy and that you belong
right,
and you can be seen in your authentic body that's healthy
right.
and for you.
And you're comfortable and it fits. You don't feel like you have to, do a lot of this and a lot of that. Yeah, a lot of tucking. Yeah. So that's what I think that's what I love the most. That it's more inclusive. It's not as inclusive as I want it to be. I'm gonna work on that. But for me, this is a really good start.
So what's the name of it?
So it's Reyna Monroe. It should be Reyna Monroe, but it's Reyna Monroe. Yeah.
Well, let's tell me what it really is. We don't want the soft version, girl. Give it to us.
Reyna Monroe. You're so funny. I'm just so used to saying Reyna now, but yeah, Reyna Monroe is the brand, and it's
Uh,
named after my parents.
oh, I was going to ask. I was going to ask. I was like, ooh.
Yes, yeah. It's so
So
funny.
are
I
they
get
your big
emails all the
supporters?
time. Say it again.
Are they your biggest like supporters through this?
Yeah, I would say so. I think you, I think about that a lot. I think
Okay.
I'm my biggest supporter, right? Because you are the person, no one's going to do the work for you, right? And it took me a really long time to get where I'm at. But even with what I was doing before, like no one is going to do the work for you. But I will say my mom will come through in a pinch. She'll be like, hey, if you need me to sew these buttons or anything, I got you. And so, because my mom lives in the city, my father, he's a great supporter too, but he's in another city, in
Okay.
another state. But my mom lives like 5 minutes away. And so, anything I need, 1000%, my mom got my back. But I named my line simply because, I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for them. Like
Very
it's
true.
it's really, really simple. It's not like this big dramatic story about why I named it after them. They're good parents. I love them. And yeah, I wouldn't be here and I wouldn't be me if it wasn't for them.
And that's facts.
Yeah. Facts on facts. Yeah.
Facts on facts on facts.
Yeah.
All right. So for anybody who wants to be in the fashion industry, wants to have their own line, whether it be like shoes, underwear, whatever they are into, what do you have to say them? So last words of wisdom for somebody who's literally like watching you, looking at you, hearing this and like, I want to do that too.
How much time you got? Uh,
Girl.
I think for starters, and I know a lot of people are going to disagree with me, you do not need a degree to be in the arts. Um, if you have a full ride, whatever, take advantage of it. But if money is an issue, you don't need a degree to be a fashion designer, especially not today. Even when I went to school, I didn't need it, but I didn't know. I could have honestly hired someone or did a couple month program. You probably got to work harder and faster, but you do not need a degree. I will say this though, you will never get an experience like you will in college. So I'm not discouraging anyone to not go to college, but if you want to be a designer, maybe major in business and minor in design, whatever that type of art or design is. So I encourage people to go to college and stay in the dorms if they can. I do because I think that experience is like no other. But you don't necessarily need a degree in the arts. And if you're going to go to college, network, get to know people. Oh my gosh, because that was a huge mistake I made. Even the teachers, get to know people really, because you don't know where people are going to go. You don't know how you can use people in a positive way. I don't
In a
mean using
positive
people in a
way.
negative way. And people can use you too, right? You can be a tool for somebody, which I'm a great advocate for, right? I believe we should use each other. So that's one thing. If you don't go to school or you don't have any background, just do research. Do all the research you can. Talk to people, read books, get on YouTube, get on Clubhouse, just social media. Do so much research though that at some point you're gonna know what's good information and what's bad information, because not all information is good information. There's so many people who talk to you about things and they sound good, and you're just like, yeah, no, this ain't it,
Especially on
right?
social media platforms.
Especially
Beware.
on social media. Be aware. Yeah, yeah. So after you hear something from somebody, do research on that, right? Like, let me see if this is legit. But sometimes I got on like calls or seminars and things like that, and they'd be like an hour long, and I would take only one thing from it. But sometimes that one thing is gold. Like, oh my goodness,
Gold.
I didn't know that. So, yeah, take advantage of all your free resources. Go to the library, practice whatever it is you want to do. Also, I think another big thing is if you're going to start your own business, save some money, pay off your debt. Don't get in more debt if you don't have to. But if you're going to fund everything by yourself, save money, pay off your debt, and then save money for the business so you can
Love
do it on
that.
your own. Yeah.
Yes. Okay, so like where can people go and get these fancy bathing suits? Like where give me the info. I need to know.
So I have a website, ReynaMonroe.com. It's all one word. Reyna Monroe is one name. It's not separate. So it's ReynaMonroe.com. That's the website. On Instagram, I'm also Reyna Monroe, Reyna Monroe Swim. And on Facebook, I am ReynaMonroe Luxe. So everything Reyna Monroe.
All the things. And as you guys know, like I make it super easy to hit up those links because I put them right there in the bio. So you don't want to miss out on all of that. Thank you so much for coming on my show. Love you so much.
Love you, boo. Thank you. Love to see you doing this. You look
Thank
happy.
you.
I'm happy for you. Congrats.
Okay, okay. We're doing something out here on Talk to Me Tuesday.
Yes.
All right, everybody, you have been watching Talk to Me Tuesday. It's your girl, Anja, and you can follow me at It's Your Girl _Anja. Once again, It's Your Girl _ANJA. And until next Tuesday, everybody, click on the link. Okay. All right. Bye.
Bye.